Hey, what's good? It's your boy Mixtape Moth, and today I'm gonna hit y'all with a review of the Neek Bucks album entitled Neighborhood Hov. Let's get to it. Alright, so Neek Bucks is a rapper coming out of East Harlem or Spanish Harlem. The neighborhood is also referred to as El Barrio. He's been buzzing in the New York scene for about 5 years now, receiving co-signs from artists like Lil Durk, Jim Jones, and Dave East. Now, unfortunately, I haven't done a deep dive into his catalog, but I did hear his El Barrio 1 and 2 mixtapes from 2018 and 2019, and based on what I've heard so far, I would probably categorize Neek Bucks as a pain rapper. And what I mean by this is he is an artist who makes songs for the trenches. So he's similar in a sense to rappers like Core, Sue Surf, G Herbo, Dave East, Meek Mill, Lil Durk, and even Lil Dev, and that his music focuses on the struggle, the pain, and being this voice of the streets. One thing I noticed was that each of his releases since around 2018 has gotten increasingly more polished and commercial sounding. His songs now contain more melodies and catchy hooks. There's more singing and auto-tune involved. And I guess this kind of makes sense given the times that we are in, also given that he is only 26 years of age. I would even go as far as saying that his voice has undergone a slight change since he first began rapping. Since about 2019, his voice appears to have gotten deeper and raspier than it used to be. Now, I want to be clear before I do a breakdown of this actual album, and that is that I wasn't feeling some of the hooks and melodic melodies on this project. This is not me hating. This is me just not being super into some of the formulaic auto-tune styled hooks and trendy cadences throughout. I can take it in small doses as I'm not just limited to boom bap, trust me, but at the end of the day, those particular style of hooks just don't really do much for me. But let me get straight into this project entitled Neighborhood Hov. It's got a bold title, but I can respect, where he's going with this idea. This album contains 12 tracks lasting approximately 31 minutes. As far as features are concerned, he's got Little TJ, Benny the Butcher, Sue Surf, G Herbo, and two artists who do the hooks, two younger artists, Sleezus Bryce and Stunna Gambino. When talking about the beats, the production is pretty slick and modern sounding, so there are a lot of songs that contain acoustic guitars, pianos, or a combination of both. I'd also say there's a somber presence to a lot of these instrumentals, which I guess ties into that pain rapper and trenches rap aesthetic. But with that being said, let me go ahead and give y'all this track by track breakdown. The opening song Flight sets this tone right away that on this project Neek Bucks is going to be talking a lot about the struggle. The saxophone gives this beat a reflective and melancholy feel. It kind of puts one in the frame of mind of a cold and rainy New York morning. Those were the vibes that I was getting. There's an auto-tuned hook from Sleezus Bryce, but I can't say that it bothered me. It was tolerable. But on this track, Neek Bucks speaks on the conditions that caused him or other young men who grew up in similar environments to want to take flight or essentially jump off the porch. But I think this was a solid way to begin the album. I don't have any complaints with it. Track 2, Give Me Time, finds Neek Bucks reflecting back to the times he put others' lives in danger while he was pursuing his street stuff. Mama, I'm sorry I brought all them killers to where you reside. It's a heartfelt expression of regret. But now that he's locked in and focused on rap, he's hopeful for a better way. He just asked for some more time, to get it together. But he's trying. A couple of lines that stood out to me were, the more that I smoke on this dogie, the more that I deviate. A dude got hit in the back of his head trying to mediate. So he acknowledges that excessive smoking has caused him to lose focus. And the line about the guy getting shot in the back of his head while trying to mediate a conflict just reflects the cold and unfair nature of the streets that he was raised on. But I like the gentle and plucking instrumental. It somewhat reminded me of production on later Nipsey project. Track 3, entitled Mashallah, has a gorgeous piano looped instrumental. It kind of sounds like a beat that either Polo G or Mozzie would use. This features a verse and a hook from a younger artist named Stunna Gambino. So I have some mixed feelings about this hook. On one hand, I can give this young dude his props for doing his thing because it's not a bad hook, but at the same time, he does sound like a Roddy Ricch clone. Now, I can see why some people would think that Stunna Gambino killed this hook, but I wasn't sold on it entirely because the cadence was so formulaic, although I did enjoy Neek's verse and I thought the beat was fire. What follows are a series of 3 tracks with very slick and polished guitar production. Instrumentally, I could appreciate how these records sounded, sequentially. On the song Times, Neek Bucks talks about the times that people changed up and switched up on him. It's a topic that I'm sure many people could identify with. He's rapping and singing in this Chicago drill kind of cadence. Now, I wasn't too crazy about this type of delivery, to be honest, as I feel it was just too trendy for my taste. Right after is Players Club Interlude, which is very short, but I believe that was intentional. On here, he's doing a bit of storytelling and working in references to Diamond from Players Club, as well as the drug kingpin from Harlem, AZ Faison. Immediately after is Stand Up. While I do like this Spanish guitar loop, I didn't particularly care for his melodic trap delivery. Sure, it was catchy, but it didn't sound very unique or distinguishable from what the average auto crooner from Chirac would perform. What follows is easily the weakest song on the project, in my opinion, and that is entitled Fly Away, featuring Lil TJ. Look, I tried to give this song a chance, but it just wasn't for my ears. However, in fairness, I did like Lil TJ on Polo G's single Pop Out, as well as his own single Zoo York, but this one, nah. Now, fortunately, the second half of this album is a lot better. There's more rapping and less of a focus on catchy melodies and appealing to a broader audience. We get a succession of 3 tracks where Neek Bucks and his guest appearances give us nothing but pain and introspective raps. Also, something I noticed about these songs were that the beats almost seemed tailor-made to fit each respective guest feature's sound and style, which I thought was pretty dope because these beats seem custom-made for Benny the Butcher, Sue Surf, and G Herbo. The following song, entitled Pain, is my favorite from the project without a doubt. Features a dope verse from Benny the Butcher. The two reflect back to the times in their lives where they experienced nothing but pain and despair, but as natural born hustlers, they were able to find their way out of the madness. There is something about this beat that gave me old Rockefeller vibes, and the somber keys and violins also give it an intense and cinematic quality. Neek Bucks states, "I managed to maintain my name through the war, and Graves just explained all the pain we endured." Some bars from Benny that stood out were, "My nights was lonely, hamburger and rice-a-roni, and this thing of ours, loyalty required only. I learned dolo when the hustlers ain't try and show me." Right after is Sinnin' featuring Sue Surf. This has an intense, dark, and almost anxiety-building beat. In fact, the tension and suspense seems to build even more as Surf's verse gets underway. There's some vivid and dramatic storytelling on this one. It's a dark and grim record, but I feel this is a highlight as both Neek Bucks and Sue Surf are in their element. The subsequent song, Default, featuring G Herbo, is another strong moment on this project. The two tell war stories over a melancholy soul sample. I feel like G Herb Sounds like his old self when he went by the Little Herb moniker, and I feel this instrumental even takes me back to some of his earlier work. I definitely had no problem with this one. The second to last track is Corner Gospel 5, which is the fifth installment to his popular Corner Gospel series. On here, Neek Bucks is giving you a bird's eye view of life in the trenches over this dark and gloomy instrumental. This was another very solid strong that I think played to his strengths. And the album closes out with the heartfelt tribute to his daughter entitled First Love Part 2. Neek Bucks expresses that he is very thankful and grateful to be a dad. He offers some very touching words, and I like this track not only for the production, but also because he was able to stay on topic conceptually. It's a very strong way to close out the project. Overall, I give this album Neighborhood Hov a rating of 3 out of 5. I feel it was good, worth checking out. It definitely started out pretty decent, but I just couldn't get into some of the hooks and some of the trendier cadences that he was using throughout, or that some of his guests were using. It's not to say that these particular moments in the songs made them whack or intolerable, but it made them less memorable and kind of watered down sounding, in my opinion. Now, I'm sure fans of poppier and the more up to the minute sounding hooks might have loved them, but as someone who is more of a traditionalist, I really wasn't feeling them. To be clear, I'm not expecting him to go old Joey Badass or even Griselda on us with the gritty boom bap beats, but at the same time, I wasn't too keen on him going this Little Durk route either, especially considering how Neek Bucks sounded when he first came out as a Harlem MC, but it seems now that he is content on gravitating more towards the Little Durk and Chicago sound as a whole, more than the New York one. Now, fortunately, as I said earlier, the second half of this album was very strong. I really liked tracks 8 through 12, but if you notice, these were more of the traditional records with straight spitting and no auto-tune. However, I do want to give Neek Bucks his props in releasing a project that sounds like it was geared more for a broader audience. It is clear that he has commercial ambitions, and I hope that he does receive more attention and shine moving forward, because he can definitely rap. But in my opinion, I just thought that some of the more crossover attempts made his music indistinguishable from your average artist who makes melodic rap, but when playing to his strengths, like on the songs Sinning and Pain, his music is far more hard-hitting and memorable. My favorite tracks include Give Me Some Time, Pain, Sinning, Default, Corner Gospel, and First Love Part 2. Let me know what you thought about this project in the comment section below. What should I check out next? It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Neek Bucks Neighborhood Hov 1.